Hey guys, what is up? I'm back at again with another video, and I'm recording it at 2 in the morning. I can't fall asleep, but once I make a video, I seem to immediately fall asleep afterwards. So, especially when it's a researched video like this, because I kind of put some energy into it, I guess, but I don't know. There was stuff on this little thing right here. So, but, yeah, so I just think I'm gonna make a video right now, and this was a good idea. I actually have believed strongly in this for quite a long time, ever since I really started getting into the history of the Indiana Pacers. So ever since I was 10, I've believed strongly of this fact. And I know my fellow YouTube friend, A House, he said, I remember one stream, he said that this was one of his favorite players on the Indiana Pacers of all time. And also, I know this is probably coming out after a video on me doing a bunch of combine activities from all the different sports. So I know that's probably, this is going to get uploaded probably several days later, or actually, no, this might get uploaded before that. But yeah, spoiler alert, this is getting uploaded before that, because it's supposed to rain, and I have to wait for a sunny day to do that. But yeah, spoiler alert, I'm going to do 2 activities from each combine: NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. So, yeah, but now onto the video. Why Dale Davis was one of the most underrated players of all time. Let's get into the video. Now, we are going to start with his strengths, and then his weaknesses, and then I'm just going to talk for a little bit on my opinion. So, his strengths. His rebounding average. His highest average of rebounds per game, total rebounds per game, is 10.9, almost 11, and his career rebound per game is 7.9. He was a 6'11 power forward who weighed about 230 pounds, usually. So, he was a pretty good rebounder, and especially in the 90s, when you had guys like Shaq and Hakeem. I don't know why I'm struggling to think of good centers and power forwards, because there were plenty of them in the 90s, but I cannot think of them right now. Why can't I? All I can think of is Hakeem and Shaq. I'm disappointed in myself. He is very efficient, as his career field goal average is 53%, and he had a high of 56%. His career 53% is only 1% lower than Domantas Sabonis, another 6'11 power forward who played, well, actually, Sabonis currently plays for the Indiana Pacers. And that's considered pretty efficient. So he was a really efficient scorer. And he was a nice scorer, averaging a career of 8 points per game and a high career average of 11.7. And he had 5 10-point per game seasons or more, or over. He had 5 10 or more point per game average seasons. And here's why that's impressive. He was the non-primary scoring option. Even in the post, he was not the primary scoring option. On the teams in the mid-90s and late 90s, you had guys like Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson who could just score from really anywhere. You had Rick Smits who could score in the paint. He was there for a little bit with Jermaine O'Neal, and he could score in the paint really good. Forgetting someone. No, that's it, I believe. So he was... Actually, I think he was the last scoring option in the starting lineup, and he still managed to average double digits 5 times, and I think only one of them was away from the Pacers. So 4 times with the Pacers, when there was Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, and Rick Smits. That's pretty good. he was a good defender. I don't know if I want to say amazing. He was a good defender, averaging a career block average of 1.2 and a high of 1.8. And he had a career steal average of 0.6 and a high of 1 steals per game, which is good for a 6'11 power forward. I mean, there aren't that many 6'11 power forwards averaging like 1 steal per game, or even 0.6 steals per game for that matter. Sabonis and Bam Adebayo are averaging 0.5 and 0.6, and they're considered like some of the best power forwards in the league. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Now we get to the weaknesses, which there aren't really that many. He can't shoot threes. He didn't attempt a single three his whole 17-year career. And he can't shoot free throws with a career average of 56% and a high of only 70%. And I didn't put this as a weakness. It's only like a halfway weakness because like about a quarter of his career he spent playing less than 70 games in a season. So he was a little injury prone at times. So, but really there are more strengths with him than weaknesses, and he was only a one-time All-Star. Probably mainly because of his scoring, but I guarantee you, if you took away Rick Smits and made him the primary scoring option in the paint, he would average much higher points per game. Not that I'm saying Rick Smits was a liability for the Pacers, no. Rick Smits was an amazing player for the Pacers. Dude was a beast. And again, you had guys like Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson who could really score from anywhere, so I just feel like he's pretty underrated and people don't really talk about him that much. I'm sure if the Pacers won a championship in the 90s, then people would probably talk about him more, being like, oh, he was like he was a pretty good player and he was pretty underrated back then. But Pacers only made it to the finals once, but we beat the Knicks multiple times. And as any Pacer fan who grew up in the 90s, I did not, but I know this still. Anybody who is a Pacers fan, at least who knows about the Pacers versus Knicks rivalry in the 90s, knows that the Knicks suck. We hate the Knicks. In fact, my dad, who had a Pacer sticker on the back of his car when he was driving to New York, on his way in, this was in the 90s, people actually chased his car because he had a Pacer sticker on the back. True story. Yeah. And usually the Pacers won. And as we know, in the 2000s, the Knicks dropped off. And the Pacers, well, if we didn't get in a massive brawl with the Detroit Pistons, we might have a championship. Because if we beat those Detroit Pistons, we would beat the Lakers. And then we would have a championship. Also, if you're wondering about the Detroit Red Wings hat, I need to start representing my two Detroit teams for hockey and baseball, the Red Wings and the Tigers, even though they both suck recently. I still need to represent them more as they are my hockey and baseball franchises. And I know you're going to be like, well, you're in Indiana and Chicago's closer, so shouldn't you be a Blackhawks and a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan? And to that I say, my mom grew up watching hockey before, and she grew up in Ohio, and so she was closer to Michigan than she was Ohio. Than she was Chicago, where she lived in Ohio. And this was before the Blue Jackets were around, so the games they got on TV were the Red Wings, so she was a Red Wings fan. And this was when she was young, so she was not a bandwagon, because yes, I know the Red Wings were really good in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, they were really good. They were a dynasty. They were like the Lakers. We just need to find our LeBron James. As long as that LeBron James does not have the ego and the attitude of the current LeBron James. As long as they have a decent head on their shoulders. unlike LeBron James. And as for explaining the Tigers, my dad was born in Michigan, so only reason I am a Pacers and Colts fan is because when my dad moved here, when he moved to Indiana, basketball and football, those two professional sports teams, their life, especially basketball. Unless, of course, you're a kid in my middle school, which in that case, you're a giant bandwagon, unless you're a loyal fan. Because there are multiple kids who were born in Indiana who live in my middle school. Not live in my middle school, but go to my middle school and think it's okay to be something other than a Pacers fan. But they're just not very smart. But yeah, so the only reason I'm a Colts and Pacers fan is because when they moved here, you just kind of got to become those two. But baseball and hockey is, you can be whatever for that because we don't have a professional team here. Although soon we might have a baseball team. I don't know why they don't move a team here. Every team they've moved here has gained a massive following and a loyal fan base. Pacers have, ever since they've been here, any basketball team that's been here has had a loyal following. When they moved the Colts to here from Baltimore, we loved them and we were loyal to them. What do they think's going to happen if they give us a baseball team? We will be loyal to them, or a hockey team. We will be loyal to them and we will watch the games. Jeez. Yes, I know I'd have to give up my Red Wings fandom, but I'm fine with that. I know they had one of the greatest franchises. They had one of the greatest dynasties for the 90s and 2000s, but I gotta stick with my hometown team. So if they do move a team here, yes, I will be a fan of that team because Indiana's strong. So. But yeah, that's my little off-topic thing that I do for the video. Again, thanks for 100 subscribers. I actually got a congrats from YouTube for that, so. And Social Blade says that in 3 years, I'll start getting paid. They say in 3 years, I will have 1,000 subscribers, and I will take that. And as you know, us on this channel, we enjoy defying the odds. Especially if you're a Pacers fan, you know everything about defying the odds. So how about we defy the odds for that subscriber count and we reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2020? I think that's good, right? Yeah, you guys agree? Okay, then click the subscriber button. The subscriber button? Click the subscribe button now and turn on notifications so you can get notified of my videos. I've kind of had a recent, a recent rush of subscribers this past week. Might be partially because of my Rodrigo Blank-Ship video, which got 40 views, and that got me a couple subs. So I've just been gradually, it seems like every video I post, I get more subs. So I think that's a good thing. Ever since I started posting at a normal time, like 1 p.m. and not 1 a.m. So, yeah. This will probably be posted at like 1 p.m. So, see you guys next time. Please subscribe. I don't want to have to work a normal job, but the joke's on you, because before you're like, oh, you're lazy. Joke's on you, because guess what? My thing that whatever. I plan on going to college to become a sports broadcaster, so I'll have a lazy job anyway. I'll only have to work like a couple days through the week, and I get to travel with the team and stuff, so like that'll be fun. But that's besides the point. Subscribe, do all that good stuff, This has been a really awkward last few minutes. See you guys in the next video. This is okay, yeah.